Okay, hi. So, the tutorial for today, we're going to take a look at an essay that I was sent by a student. Now, this guy, he's been to a course and he's had his assessment, and they gave him a 7 for writing. And, this essay is not bad. What he's looking for now is 8. 8, maybe 8 and above. So there's a couple of things that this essay could be tweaked, a couple of minor tweaks that would certainly improve the general score. So I've got a couple of samples, and I'll put all this stuff onto the site so you can take a look and copy them at a later date, if you wish. So, discuss both views. So, some people believe that university graduates should pay the full cost of their education. Others say university education should be free. Discuss both views and give your own opinion. Okay, so who should pay for university education? So, let's have a peep. So, what I like to do, I recommend, where's my structure? Yeah. Sentence 1, paraphrase the question. Sentence 2, state both points of view, or either or, makes no difference. Then we need a thesis, because it says give your opinion, so we want to know in the introduction what you think, and then we need an outline sentence. Now, this is one of the things that is quite important. Most high-scoring essays have an outline sentence. Now, what they don't want is something like, there are 2 different views which I will consider. Well, we know that there's 2 views, and we know that you're going to talk about them because that's what the essay tells you to do. So it's like a sentence that is wasted, essentially. You're not telling me or the reader or the examiner where the essay is going. So, sentence 1, we should just a simple restatement of the topic. So, the question of whether to pay all the expenses incurred by the university authorities for education they provide or not continues to be a controversial topic. Well, where does it say it's controversial? Let me read. Does it say anything about controversy? No. Now, I always advise people to avoid these kind of broad overstatements, sweeping generalizations. It is a controversial issue. It is a highly debated topic. It is a contentious. It doesn't say that in the question. It doesn't mention it. It doesn't say anything about it at all. So these overstatements, really, they just don't work. Most examiners, and indeed, if you are writing essays at university, if that's your purpose in taking the IELTS test, most professors and tutors really don't like this kind of broad generalization, because it adds nothing to the essay, and you are never supposed to write something that you cannot prove. Who says it's controversial? Okay, so whether to pay all the expenses incurred by the university, well, that's not strictly the same thing as who should pay or not. Higher education pupils, so university graduates, should pay. However, the issue is not entirely straightforward, and arguments can be made against the idea. There are valid opinions on both sides. So this basically says the same thing kind of twice. There's arguments can be made, there's valid opinions on both sides, but we don't know what these are. So there's not an outline, really. Now, I just wrote a quick introduction, and I'll show you some examples in a second. So, simple restatement. It has been argued that the cost of university education should be paid for by graduates, while others argue it should be paid for by the state. Now, I say by the state because if something is free, well, it isn't free. Somebody pays, and it's the state who collects your taxes that pays for education. So, in other words, who should pay, you or the state? So that is why it says paid for by the state. It could be free of charge, but it's not free because somebody pays, and that's who pays. This essay will argue that. So, opinion: despite the benefits to society of a highly educated citizenry. So, this is where the essay is going to be going. The two main ideas of paragraph 2 and 3. So it's saying, you know, having lots of people going to university, high levels of education is no doubt good, you know, so who should pay? So if it were free, more people would go, and that's the idea which I would be expanding on. However, as it is the individual who will benefit most, it is the graduate who should pay. Now, this is, you know, just a very quick introduction. I'll just show you an essay. I thought I had something. I basically wrote, now it's pretty similar. You know, this is advantages and disadvantages, which is more or less the same as both views. You look at one side, look at a different side. And the question is pretty similar. So this one's talking about, is it good or bad that there has been an increase in students at university? So this is just again to illustrate the point, the structure. Let me just justify that. So sentence 1, you paraphrase or mention what both views are. Okay. The number of university students has dramatically increased in recent decades. Okay. Some argue having more educated people is beneficial to the community, while others say this trend will lower the quality of education, etc. So now, this essay will argue, in other words, this is what the opinion is, that the main advantage is a populace with lots of knowledge that will develop the economy. Now that's your main idea that you should be talking about in paragraph 2. So this is why having an outline statement is a good idea. This helps your cohesion and coherence. You know, so you signpost what is going to be in paragraph 2, and you signpost what's going to be in paragraph 3. Okay, so while the main disadvantage is the lowering of the value of a university degree. Now, this is better than saying there are some advantages and disadvantages to both these views, which this essay will discuss. Yes, but, you know, that's not very good. We don't know where it's going. Here, we know we're going to be talking about having more knowledgeable people is going to specifically develop the economy. So that's the main idea. So that's clearly signposted. The disadvantage, or the opposite view, is having too many people at uni is going to lower the value of a degree. Okay, so just show you the structure. So again, where are we? So paragraph 1, 2. You state your first view, explain it, why do you agree, and an example. Same for paragraph 2. Okay, so where are we? So firstly, having more people who graduate is of obvious benefit to a community. So that's the general idea. You explain it. It could be argued that a more educated citizenry will lead to high levels of innovation and productivity with consequent increases in the economy. Now, this is why I say having an outline sentence is of major benefit to developing your cohesiveness, because you're signposting what your main idea for paragraph 2 is. Develop the economy, productivity, increasing the economy. Then a specific example that illustrates your point. Not a general one, a specific example. So for example, if we consider America, a recent survey by Harvard Business School, 80% of young people involved in startups, blah, 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 had at least a bachelor's degree. The implication from this survey is that a high level of education seems to be the norm for entrepreneurs. So having a degree, productivity, develop the economy, that's it. That's why the outline sentence is very important. What we don't want is, this essay will show there are good and bad things about this, there are two views. We know there's two views because the essay, it tells us this, okay? Now, the second thing, right? The disadvantage, the opposite view is too many people lowers the value of a degree. So, paragraph 3, let me just bring this up a bit. Okay, so the opposite view, right? However, because we're showing a contrast, a possible drawback to high graduate numbers could be the lessening of the value of a degree. Okay. If employers take education, then if everyone has a degree, it will be difficult for the candidate to stand out. So if a degree is a sign of high education, if everybody's got one, how can they pick, how can they choose if everybody has one? So, an example, a recent survey, 80% of employers were now looking for other qualities. If this is so, then high numbers of graduates will have no reason to have taken their degree in the first place. So, and then conclusion should be a mirror of your introduction. Tertiary student numbers, in other words, higher education, are growing. The benefits of education to the economy, main idea 1. Need to be, justify this, considered in light of a possible downgrading in status of such education's value. In other words, a lessening of the value, a lowering of the value. So, you're basically saying the same thing 3 separate times. In your introduction, paragraph 2 here and here, paragraph 3 here and here, and in your conclusion. So, if we take a look at this previous one. Okay, on the one hand, some people feel that education should be free of any charge. Okay, this, it is argued, would expand the opportunities for any individual, either poor or rich, to have an equal chance at higher education. Okay, so if education's free, more people can go. Furthermore, supporters of free education claim that the procedure would encourage a talented and at the same time underprivileged students. Well, that's basically the same as the previous idea. Expand opportunities, at the same time underprivileged. So this is basically saying the same thing twice. And we have no example. There's no specific example here. So let's take a look at another example. Student numbers, purpose of education. Yeah, well, right, so this is the one we just had a look at. As you see, now I invented these examples because it's not a truth test. Nobody is going to check if your examples are real or not. So what people do is to go down the research route. A recent survey research showed that 80%. Now, that's better than saying, for example, some people might do better in business with a degree. Or a recent survey by Harvard in 2015 showed that over 80%. Now, which do you think sounds better? More convincing? It's obvious. So, clear examples. A recent survey showed 80% of employers. Right. Let's take a look at another. I pulled a couple of essays up just to give you some ideas. Oh yeah, so this is pretty similar. The purpose of education. A recent survey by the Confederation of British Industry showed over 70% of office jobs were asking for a degree. For example, a study by the University of Edinburgh showed that 80% right. Now, so this is what I'm talking about. It's the same general idea, right? So sentence one, simp or paraphrase. Clearly state your opinion, okay, and signpost in your outline what your two main ideas are. The benefits of attending go beyond mere job seeking. There. And how useful is a degree in finding employment? So that's what that's talking about. And the advantage of having a highly critical citizenry. In other words, being highly educated means that you can think for yourself. It teaches the critical thinking skills. So there's only two main ideas, and the signposted main idea one, main idea one, main idea two, main idea two, and then conclusion, a mirror of your introduction. Despite the obvious benefit, which is there, advantage in the job market, obvious benefit in the job market, well-informed and critical citizenry, critical thinking, highly critical. Yeah, so this is why having the outline sentence is very important for high-scoring essays. So there's no clear example. It basically says the same thing twice, and it's not signposted in the introduction. Okay. The other side is one major benefit of paid education deals with the quality and standard of education. So, okay, if universities had not charged required fees, the society would not have improved its ranking. I'm not quite sure how that follows. It's not as clear as it could be. Okay. Furthermore, supporters of a current issue, which current issue? That they should pay or that they shouldn't pay? So education is a personal issue. The fact rich people give higher taxes. Have more right to education. Oh dear. Well, there's some ideas here, but I'm not really sure what this is talking about. So we've got one here that says it should be free because it will allow more people to benefit from education. Okay, that sounds good. So the opposite view should be that graduates should pay. Why should they pay? So deals with the quality and standard of education. So this paragraph would have had to have said exactly why graduates are paying. Why is that good or bad? Why is it? Why should they? Why should they pay? So if it's not shown, well, possibly, but it's not as clear as it could be. If the university authorities had not charged the graduates with required fees, the society would not have proved its academic and global ranking. Well, how does that follow? Because what you've said here is that if universities don't charge, more people will go. So surely that would be of a benefit to a society. More highly educated people coming out of university, which, so here it says if they didn't charge, it would not have improved its global ranking, the society. So it doesn't necessarily follow. Furthermore, supporters of a current issue, education is personal, but you've just said here that it isn't, because graduates improve society. So how is that? So how is that personal? Due to the fact that rich people give higher taxes, well, they're much education, and I'm not sure what people paying taxes has to do with who should pay for education. So, okay. Overall, it seems advisable, should not free on, but something seems to pedagogical quality. Tax is fair and different social. That's gone a bit off topic. I'm not entirely sure what it's talking about. It's not as clear as it ought to be. If we take a look at what's another example? What's a good one? Purpose of education. No, the student numbers one. So this one's pretty straightforward. So sentence one: having more people graduate is of obvious benefit. Right. Why is that so? Because if people are more educated, that will lead to higher levels of innovation and productivity, because these people are not stupid, and this will have a consequent economical increase. How can we prove this? Well, Harvard said that 80% of young people creating their own business and startups had a degree. So they're not stupid. They're not stupid because they have higher education. Right. So what's the idea here? A possible drawback could be that if more people take a degree, it can lower its value. Okay. So if we take looking for a job, for example, if employers consider a degree as a measure, if everybody has a degree, as I mentioned, it's difficult for them to stand out. And then a survey said, bum, bum, bum. Okay? So, let's go back to this one. So, this isn't bad, but to get a high score, right, we have to have a clearly stated opinion in the introduction. The criteria specifically says a clear position throughout the response. Let me show you. I've mentioned this in most of my videos. I'll go back to it once again. Let me just grab this, bring it here. I'll show you what I mean. Where's my pen? Right. Clear position throughout the response for at least a 7. So we have to know exactly what you think all the way through the essay. Relevant, extended, and supported ideas. What this basically means is good reasons and clear, specific examples. Now, if you overgeneralize, if it's not specific, if your examples or your ideas are not as focused as they could be, that isn't bad, but you're not going to get anything higher. Okay? Clear central topic, one main idea, which it kind of does. So again, that isn't bad. But a cohesion, sequence, logic, that's one reason why having an outline sentence and having, sentence 1 of paragraph 2 relates back to your main idea, a summary that links onto the next paragraph, sentence 1 of that paragraph leads back to your introduction, the conclusion is a mirror of your introduction. So you're saying the same thing 3 separate times, essentially. And that should be it. So, all in all, that isn't bad. We just need to make a couple of minor tweaks. So, No sweeping overstatements. It's contentious, it's controversial, maybe it is, maybe not. It doesn't say that. A clear opinion has to be expressed. We want an outline. We know there's two sides because it's a discuss both views question. What we want is for you to say what your two main ideas are. What are you going to be talking about? Okay? And we need some clear, specific examples. So this basically says the same thing kind of twice, and there's no clear example. This is not bad, but it's not as clear as it could be. And again, we don't have an example. Okay? So these are things that we need to have a look at. Well, the author of this essay has to have a look at. So I'll post these on my site and these examples. And if anybody's got any questions or comments, you can write to me at the usual address, kevin@prepareielts.com. Great. I'll see you later then.